In the immortal words of Eric Foreman, bacon.
Bacon.
Is that getting you going? Is that getting you up and about? Get the coffee percolating along with the bacon.
We know you're taking your aspirin right now.
Crack a couple eggs on top of the bacon. Get that frying up as well. There's only so much your Uncle Dave and I can do to get you through your Saturday morning hangover. But we will, of course.
We'll get you there.
We're the yeomen. We will do the best we can. Put our best effort forward to get you through. This is your Saturday morning hangover cure. Of course, Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition with your Uncle Dave.
And your Uncle Kev.
The Conquistador and the Maestro at your service.
Happy Memorial Day weekend, kids. The official start of summer, although it's going to be cold and miserable in most places.
Yeah, especially outside the Sports Frenzy studios. But that's okay. We will soldier on, soldier through. That's what we expect you to do as well, to get over your rejection and your disappointment and your overindulgence from last night. But of course, this is your favorite politically incorrect pop culture commentary podcast. We talk about the best in rock and roll, TV and streaming, movies, and then of course,
we'll let you know what's the worst as well.
Yep. We've got a couple big announcements for you this week. If you did not listen to the sports edition, these will definitely be a little bit surprising. Fun, surprising, good news all around. But first and foremost, Dave, what do we always start off with here on the weekend edition?
We start with our music review because it's all about the rock and roll, baby.
Now, this one, some of you out there might scoff. Really? You're going to go there?
But wait, my friends.
Remember the Spin Doctors?
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong?
Pocket full of kryptonite. Three Princes?
Yep. Came onto the scene in the early mid-90s.
Yep.
93, 94, that vicinity.
They're back. They are back. This album has been out here for about a month and a half.
Yep. We reviewed a single off of it, Still a Gorilla.
Which I just love.
It's awesome.
So much.
It's so fun.
The new album is Face Full of Cake from the Spin Doctors. First thing I'm going to say is, why is it wrong to just want to have some fun with your music?
There's nothing wrong with that. What do you think originally brought us to The Offspring?
Well, once we get to, let's say, close to the end of the show, I will have a rant about a particular individual, one of these individuals that tries to suck all the fun out of music. But the Spin Doctors do not.
Bring the fun back to music. And they start off with fun, double entendres throughout. Boombox.
Yes, your classic rock and roll sexual innuendo song.
Oh my God. I love this one.
This was great. She got a boombox, baby, boom, boom. Yes, Boombox was a great choice to lead off the album. And again, maybe the Spin Doctors have slipped through outside of their little commercial blip that they had. And nobody paid attention to them, and everybody kind of laughs at them and scoffs at some of the things that they did and the way they dressed or the way they looked.
But come on, they had to try and distinguish themselves a little bit in that era.
And that was hard to do. Very hard to do.
Very hard to do, because a lot of the bands came out sounding pretty damn similar.
Yep. Now, I will say, coming up, a couple songs that definitely sound one good, one bad to a particular band from the same era. But, yeah, Rock and Roll Heaven, I think we reviewed.
Yeah, we did
which I
Rock
like.
and Roll Heaven. That was good.
It's a
Nice little homage to the history
Yep.
of music.
And then, of course, Stilla, Gorilla. I think the thing that impressed me the most about this album is the creativity in the lyrics. There are a lot of great lyrics on this album.
Lyrically, this is beautiful.
And this song, it still blows me away. Still a gorilla in terms of some of the stuff they pull out.
But you got Godzilla.
Yeah. You wanted King Kong, but you got Godzilla.
Oh, man.
What was it? You wanted Carbides, but I'll take my chances with Scylla. I'm like, that's shit straight
brilliant.
That's shit straight out of Sting's playbook.
Yeah.
From back with the Police.
Yeah, there's some good
He references
good
the exact same thing in Wrapped Around Your Finger with the Police. Scylla and Carbides.
Yeah.
So.
An homage there.
Yeah. Now, 5 and 6, Double Parked and Liked You Better When Your Butt Was Big. Both reminded me of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But
yeah.
I liked, this is going to shock people, because everybody thinks I'm crass and immature. I thought Double Parked was a lot better.
Oh, it was better than I Liked You Better When Your Butt Was Big.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Double Parked.
Yeah.
Heart of the Highway was decent.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm not trying to skip it. I was just...
Yeah.
Buddha on the Lawn was great.
I loved it too.
Great.
That was fantastic.
That could lyrically be the high point of the album. Singing about his dad.
And all the lawn ornaments.
Yes.
Take out the pink flamingos,
From
but
the
leave the
driveway.
Buddha on the lawn.
Yeah. All the detail he goes into. And then at the end, he turns out to be just like his dad. It's like Cats in the Cradle with pink flamingos and garden gnomes.
Oh, God.
And then I thought She Don't Love Me Anymore was catchy as hell.
It was. It's an earworm.
Yep. That's exactly what I wrote down. Yep. After that, the album kind of is a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah. I'm the Man You Got was...
It's a little repetitive.
Yeah.
It's a decent bluesy breakdown, but it goes on. I found this to be the problem with the last 4 songs. They go on too long.
They do.
If they had been cut down, they would have been much better. Initially, I liked While You're Holding the Moon Over Me, but it goes on for almost 5 minutes.
Yeah, it needed to be about a 3.5.
Yes. And She Stands Alone, where you get a different lead singer, was nice. It was a rocker.
It rocked. It was pretty good.
And then When You Got Turmoil in Your Mind was the only song I really didn't necessarily like.
I know. They tried again to go blues, but they did not pull it off.
Yeah. And again, it could have used about a minute less.
Yeah. So they could have added a little more of the bluesy sound to it. But it just missed what they were trying to do.
Yep. So I don't care what anybody thinks. I will stand up and say it loud and proud. I love this album. I did.
This was fun. I've listened to it a number of times. I can't hate it. I enjoy it. It is so...
No matter what you people out there want to say, I love the Spin Doctors.
You have to listen to this album.
Yes, now the problem is, of course, it's vastly overpriced if you want to buy it. Now you could just listen to it on Spotify like a sane, normal human being would, and not be an idiot like me and always have to have a physical copy. But
listen to it on Spotify until the price comes down to a normal
which
range.
is what I'm doing.
There you go.
I am coming around to the world of reasonable, sane people. But really, I really like this album a lot.
Yeah.
Really like this album a lot.
Even though there's some weaker songs that are a little long,
but
I can't
the songs
disparage
are good.
them. Yeah, that's
They
it.
just needed to
good.
be cut a little bit.
Yeah.
The hooks, the ideas, the structure of the
Everything
songs
is
are
there.
good. Yes. Especially those last 4 at the end needed to just be a little bit less.
Tightened up.
Yes. I'm going to give it a weak 3.5 Frenzies.
I was going a strong 3.
Yeah.
Borderline weak 3.5. This
is probably right now my third best album of the year.
This is in the running for the top 5 for sure. This was enjoyable.
This
was a hidden gem. I was not sure what we were gonna get with this.
Right.
And the more I got into, I'm like, oh, they got that. They're yes, thank you.
Yes.
So
in a weak year, and it just seems like as we go by every year we say that. But if people are not going to put out new music,
we'll take what we can get.
And this is a very, very impressive effort from the Spin Doctors.
Yes, this was the surprise of the year for me.
I think hands down.
On the positive side.
Hands down. Yeah, you want to call it surprise of the year? Hands down, yes. Absolutely.
So kudos to them.
Yes, and I will definitely be listening to this more and more. It is a great album, kids. It is a great, great album. So do not laugh. Do not laugh at the Spin Doctors.
The Spin Doctors are going to be in the patio playlist for the summer festivities.
The Conquistador and the Maestro say it is so.
So it shall be.
That is correct. Big news in the world of rock and roll before we move on. Kelly Hansen is leaving Foreigner.
Bum, bum, bum.
He will finish out their current summer tour.
I thought Foreigner was on their farewell leg anyway.
We know that bullshit doesn't matter anymore. We know this. Look at what we just talked about with The Who recently.
Yeah, I know.
Is that their 4th farewell tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they've already... The press release where they announced Kelly Hansen was leaving, they announced who's taking over. I guess this is a guy, when we saw them last time, on what we thought was the farewell tour.
Yeah.
This guy was in the band. He's a multi-instrumentalist, so I don't know if he was the guy that was like playing the quote-unquote sax solo during Urgent.
Okay.
I think he's stepping up and playing, he's taking over lead vocal. Luis Maldonado is his name. He recently took over lead vocals because Kelly Hansen had those travel issues.
Right.
And then Lou Gramm stepped in for an occasional guest spot. But yeah, they have completely dropped in the press releases any talk of a farewell tour. They're talking like this is a rebirth of Foreigner.
No. Nope, done.
We get screwed on this all the time.
I am.
Skinner did it.
Yeah.
Skinner did it. The Who's done it multiple times.
I'm not.
Kiss's farewell tour went on 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not doing a third Foreigner singer. Sorry, done.
No, I'm good. Kelly Hansen was a great frontman to replace Lou Gramm, but I'm done.
Yep.
I'm out.
I'm out, Jerry.
I'm out of the contest. Yep. All right, let's do some entertainment news before we move on to TV and streaming. Now, a show that I love is coming back finally. It has been confirmed. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, with the great Anson Mount playing Christopher Pike, will be back for Season 3 on Paramount+.
Speaking of Season 3 and Anson Mount, Nick is
he's
the
watching
tail end of Season 3 of Hell on Wheels.
I hope he's enjoying it. He better be. All right, that's good to hear. July the 17th will be the return date for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now, as you're listening to this, Mickey 17 has debuted on Max. That would have been yesterday, May the 23rd. You're listening to this, of course, on Saturday morning, May the 24th, even though, see, this is like the Star Trek time warp stuff. Your Uncle Dave and I are recording on May the 21st.
Yes, so we're talking about things happening in your past and our future.
Like I said, Star Trek shit. And, of course, I have to pass along the awful, terrible, horrible, depressing news that Amazon Prime Video has canceled The Bondsman with Kevin Bacon after just one season.
And I give Kevin Bacon a lot of credit for posting a video talking about his disappointment and thanking the fans who reached out and supporting it, wanting more. And as he said, he's even said, I have no reason why.
Now, I read something that tried to explain why, and it will infuriate you when I tell you this.
It was too expensive.
Nope. And it actually was getting a lot of viewers. It was, I think, currently, at the time they canceled it, it was number 2 on Amazon's most watched list in terms of original shows.
Yeah.
The excuse that I saw for why it was canceled, it wasn't making any impact on social media.
Who gives a shit?
They care.
Guess what? Social media isn't all that. People talk. They actually speak to each other face to face. There are conversations. There's a reason it was number 2 in your original content.
Yeah, nope, that was what I read.
Because there was no social media
It was not
buzz.
making any kind of a blip on social media, despite the viewership numbers being solid.
Stop the fucking social media bullshit.
I agree with
We
you,
don't
but
need it. Fuck you, Amazon.
and then because Dave and I are old school, well, do I call us Animaniacs? We love
Yes.
our old school animation. And we have been on this one for a long time. One of the ones we've been on for a long time. Because, by the way, figured you'd like to know this because we've been ripping on Warner Brothers Discovery for a long time. Ever since this idiot Zaslav took over and he canceled everything. And
The killer of fun.
yeah, he was the one that ditched the Batgirl movie and ditched Coyote versus Acme.
You mentioned Animaniacs. I think we need to release Yakko, Wacko, and Dot on his sorry ass.
Before I get to the update, which I find very ironic, Standard and Poor's, of course, one of the big financial benchmarks in our country.
Yeah, they
downgraded
S&P 500.
Right. They downgraded Warner Brothers Discovery to junk bond status. That's how bad they are doing financially.
Yeah,
even
because of
despite this idiot. Yeah.
Gee,
taking write-offs and wasting money and then saying, "Oh, I don't care if we put 50 or 60 million into it. Write it off. Don't release it."
Don't write it off. That's the best way to kill your rating and destroy your business.
And when they put you in junk bond status, they don't see any hope in the future.
No, you're done.
Yeah. And one of the movies that they ditched out on earlier, ironically, is going to come back on Max, HBO Max, whatever they're going to call it, on June the 27th, The Day the Earth Blew Up. A Looney Tunes movie will be on Max on June the 27th, even though they abandoned it. Ketchup, the small startup, bought it, distributed it, didn't do well at the box office, but now, now all of a sudden Max buys it back to show it on their streaming service.
There could be a little Martian that will be involved.
Oh, I hope so. Oh my God, it better be. Better goddamn well be. All right, on the movie front, I had not heard anything about this. This came out of the clear blue. Now, Sylvester Stallone is aware of this. He has not been given a role in it yet, but he is, by all accounts, amenable to being in a participant role of some sort. But there's supposedly a John Rambo origin prequel shooting starting in October.
What?
Yes. I know. I heard nothing about this.
A Rambo prequel.
It will be called John Rambo. And it will feature what happened to him in Vietnam.
Damn.
Yep. And again, they have not got a cast set yet. Stallone is aware, and he's more than willing to jump in if they find the right part for him. I don't know if he would do a voiceover.
I would hope
like a voiceover narration or something.
That's his baby.
But yeah, they said they want to cast it and have it shooting in October.
Damn. That's one of his babies.
And then, of course, I know this is gonna be one you're gonna love.
As he says facetiously.
Well, you know, we've had Super Mario Brothers and Minecraft. So Mattel and TriStar Pictures have decided they are gonna make a movie, and this is not a joke, kids. I'm dead serious.
Stretch Armstrong?
You're in the right ballpark. Probably even worse, though. I could see a movie about Stretch Armstrong. No. They're making a movie based on the game Whack-A-Mole.
Oh, for the love of God.
Yes, we're going to get a movie based on Whack-A-Mole.
Oh, for the love of... This has got to be one of the dumbest ideas.
Dude, they're making movies based on Monopoly, based on Hot Wheels, based on Matchbox cars.
They
have
for
no
stupidity.
They have no original ideas.
Yeah, and they've got how many millions of books that they could draw from.
Yes. And then, of course, we've got some new trailers. We've got the full trailer for the upcoming Hulu animated Predator, Killer of Killers.
Looks phenomenal. The animation looks great.
Couple movies that look right up our alley in terms of crime, violent crime capers. Americana and Caught Stealing. And then they did release the... see this? I like Stephen King, but sometimes I get a little burned out on him. They did release the trailer for the upcoming HBO Max Welcome to Derry series, which is the prequel to the It movies. I watched it and I was just... okay, I'm over this already. I'm over this story.
Let's face it, it was not an exciting tale.
I still think they did it better with Tim Curry back when it was on TV, miniseries.
Yeah.
I want to see the monkey. When does the monkey hit streaming?
No kidding.
That's supposed to be like bloody, gory beyond all belief.
Bring the monkey.
I'm about over the whole It thing. Pennywise,
Let the clown die.
But yeah, Americana and Caught Stealing look very interesting.
They do. They look phenomenal. Caught Stealing. How many times can a guy get hit in the face by different people?
Austin Butler, yeah. And then what he gets stuck in a traditional Jewish home with Lev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio.
On either side as the
Hasidic Jews, and he's got to sit there and eat the matzo ball
soup with their mom.
Yes, you're thin. Eat up. Yep. It does look very good.
It looks so damn entertaining. That's right up our alley.
And now the Americana trailer leads us into our TV and streaming review because Americana looks like it's a new age Western mystery, bringing in a little bit of Native American mythology with the spirit jacket.
Yep, and the young white boy who thinks he's the reincarnation of Sitting Bull.
And of course, it stars the star of Dark Winds, Zahn McClarnon.
Yep, love Zahn.
So that will lead us into our review of Dark Winds Season 3. which wrapped up about a month or so ago on AMC. Dave's already wrapped it up, finished it. I just got through it.
Yep. Actually, a triple storyline running through this one.
Right now, I think I mentioned this. I can't remember if I mentioned it on air, recording the podcast, or just said it to you off to the side. But Dark Winds Season 3 is based on 2 of the books.
Yeah.
But they're 30 years apart. Now, supposedly the storyline in the 8-episode Season 3 of Dark Winds is based on 1973's Dance Hall of the Dead and 2003's, I understand which part of the storyline from the series, the Sinister Pig.
Yeah.
Because you will find out towards the end of Dark Wind Season 3 what pig means. So that I can draw a direct connection to. I have a suspicion about what Dance Hall of the Dead, what part of the storylines you're talking about goes to that. But yeah, the good thing they've done with Dark Winds is they have had some connective tissue between all 3 seasons. Mostly involving the tragic death of Zahn McClarnon's...
Joe Jr.
Yeah. Joe Lee Porn, of course, heading up the Navajo police, and the tragic death of his son, and that's been the underlying thread that connects all 3 seasons, and what that led to, the repercussions, the results, the actions and the reactions.
Yep, there's a lot going on in Season 3.
Yep, observations. I'm just going to give you some observations, good and bad. Now, again, you've said it. I agree completely. Zahn McClarnon, this probably could be his best of the 3 seasons in terms of his acting. Because he's put through the ringer in this season.
Physically and emotionally.
Yep. And, of course, you know, you got Jim Chi doesn't play a huge role in Season 3. But things turn out, let's just say things turn out well for him at the end.
Yep.
As we've got Manuelito has left.
Yep, she's gone to work for the Border Patrol.
And gets wrapped up in her own mess, which somehow does tie back.
Yeah, this whole season, everything tied together.
Yep. Now, when we initially talked about this, and you were ahead of me, I was kind of surprised that where the first 2 seasons were 6 episodes, this one was 8. I think they fleshed it out too much. I think they could have got away with 6. Because
they could have tightened a couple of things up.
I did not like episode 6 at all. And that's the episode where it was basically Lee Porn's fever dream.
That ran a little bit much.
It did bring in one crucial backstory element that
something that needed to be...
But it didn't need to drag out for an entire
it went too long.
Episode. Now, the other observation I have, ladies, don't hate me for saying this, but outside of Manuelito, every other woman in Season 3 is an absolute dumbass bitch. Either they're mean as hell, nasty as rattlesnakes, or they're traitorous. And I am talking about Lee Porn's wife as well. How dare she take that high moral ground stance that she takes?
Yeah, that's... I did not like that.
Yeah, I did not like how they made her out to be some kind of high and mighty moral ground, standing on her high moral ground, when Lee Porn did what needed to be done, did not do what Jenna Elfman and what Jenna Elfman's
accused
FBI...
him of.
No, he did not do that. and again, I'm trying to be a little vague here, not to spoil things for people. He did not do that.
No,
Technically,
he did not.
by the letter of the law, he did not.
Nope. He wanted to.
Yes.
But he did not. It's not his fault the way things turned out.
He might have facilitated the outcome,
but
he would.
There was a chance.
Yes, there was a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I was really disappointed. And I, in a way, in a backhanded, roundabout way, I'm praising all these actresses for making me hate them so much in season 3.
That's the thing.
I despised Jenna Elfman's character. I wanted her to get run over by a truck after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you could tell she was this high and mighty careerist FBI bitch who just
wanted to get justice for the white man.
She wanted a scalp on her to put on her wall. Sorry, but that's...
Because the rich white man had to be avenged.
Yes. Yes, I hated her. And so, again, I guess I'm praising Jenna Elfman for eliciting that kind of response out of me.
See, and all the actors and actresses in this series are phenomenal. They give really solid performances.
Yeah, Deanna Allison plays Emma Leaphorn.
Yeah.
And she gives also a powerhouse performance, but again, in terms of the writing, hated her for what she did to Joe. Hated her for what she did to Joe.
And the way it was, yeah. But
it's effective. It's effective. I'm not. If you're gonna elicit these emotions out of me, you're doing something right.
Then you did a damn good job.
You made me love you. You made me hate you. Whatever it might be. That's great writing, great acting,
and great directing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put season 3 between 1 and 2. I think I like 2 the best so far.
2 has been the standout.
Yeah, and I know you warned me that you said, well, if you didn't like that little bit of, Indian mysticism in season 1, you might have some problems with season 3. I didn't. I still think season 1 went way too far with the whole, the witchy woman can knock out Manuelito whenever she feels like it. There's nothing like that in season 3. It does delve a little bit deeper into, you have this scam going on.
Yeah.
Involving the archaeologist and him using the mythology.
The lore. And
right. To his own advantage.
Finding out that he's played by the great Christopher Heiderall.
He's always a bad guy. He is always a bad guy.
He does it so well.
I know. He is very, very good at it. But like you said, there's 3 storylines going. You get involved with the characters. And again, Jim Chi doesn't really have a lot invested in this season. But things turn out well for him at the end.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to season 4.
Yeah, if you know anything about the series,
you can figure it out.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to 4.
Yeah, I will give Dark Winds season 3. If it wasn't for that one awful episode, I'll give it a strong 3. Frenzies. If it wasn't for that whole, nightmare fever dream thing,
going too long,
I'd probably go 3.5. But yeah, I just didn't like that at all. Yeah. Even though it did have elements in it that tied into explaining the parallels between Leaphorn and his father, and both basically doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't need an entire episode and all the hallucinations
cut down a little
and
bit.
All that stuff
to
explain it. But it's a great show. It's an absolutely great show.
Phenomenal.
And I still need to go back and watch
the original.
The original PBS.
Yeah. I need to read the books, damn it.
Which will take you about 7 days.
Not quite.
So next week, Dave and I, in terms of TV and streaming, We are going to start catching up on Poker Face. Now you watched.
Yep, I did get through the first episode.
And
of
you didn't
season
like it
2.
as much as me.
It was okay. It just, I don't know. I had some issues with it, and I can't describe what it was.
Now, can I tell you?
It might have been too much of the, how the hell are they finding her so damn fast? Has she checked her car for a tracker?
Oh, yeah, but that's kind of, I don't have a problem with that because that's almost like a background comedy element. Yeah, running gag. That's a good way to look at it. I'm focusing, like, it's obviously
the mystery part of it.
The homage, as we know, to the
Columbo.
the old school Sunday night murder mysteries.
Yeah, Columbo, McMillan and Wife.
Even with the graphics they use, we talked about this.
Yeah.
When we reviewed season 1. Oh, those many years ago. But just looking at episode 1, and now Dave and I that's all we've got done so far. This is one of those love-hate things I have with an actress. Cynthia Erivo, in real life, it looks like she is the most pompous, arrogant woman on the face of the earth. And I can't stand her. In interviews, I can't stand her at award shows. As an actress on screen,
she's
brilliant.
Great.
She's brilliant. I've seen her in The Outsider on HBO, the Stephen King miniseries. She was unbelievable in that. I thought she was great with the multiple roles here in the first episode of season 2 with Poker Face. But yeah, I can separate the art from the artist.
Yeah. Easy.
I can have love for one and hate for the other.
Yeah, we do that all the time, especially with
That's
musicians.
what mature people do. You don't just outright hate some. You can hate how they behave in real life and love the way they do their work.
Yep, which with celebrities and musicians, shut up and entertain me.
Yep. Think about your own workplace. There are probably people that you can't stand, but you begrudgingly go, they do a damn good job. They're irritating as hell.
But they do a good job.
Right.
Yeah.
Necessary evil. Continuing on with what we're going to talk about next week in terms of music, we're going to review Don Felder, The Vault, 1975 to 2025. His latest album will be ideas from his days with the Eagles that he has fleshed out and turned into full songs.
Yep.
And some new songs.
Yeah, new stuff.
And I believe there is a revamped, redone version of heavy metal on there too.
Intriguing.
So that will be our featured music review for next week. We've got a couple things on HBO Max. There is a Pee Wee Herman documentary.
Yep, Pee Wee as himself.
Featuring some interviews with Paul Rubens before he passed. And then Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson. And of course, this comes from the director of Parasite.
Yep.
So I'm going to check that out. Dave's kind of on the fence on that one.
We'll see. And then some of the streaming on Max, Duster.
Yeah, we are going to start watching Duster.
We are going to give Duster a try.
That'll be a couple episodes in as you're listening to this. So we will start watching Duster. And that will tell me
if
HBO
you
Max.
Max or not.
You want my $10 for the next month? Duster better be damn good. I didn't tell you this, by the way. This is again on Max. I started watching The Brutalist.
Really?
Which was nominated for Best Picture. Adrian Brody won.
Yeah.
3.5 hours. I got through about 40 minutes. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, but it's Adrian Brody.
Boy, I'll tell you what. They got away with some massively controversial stuff early on in this where I was like, wow, how is that not NC-17?
Really?
Yeah. Very, very
Very
close.
brutal?
Very close. No. I'm not
right.
gonna, I will tell you off mic.
Okay.
I don't want to get into detail here. We just started on YouTube, Dave. Oh, we hadn't gotten to that yet, had we? Oh no! What have we done?
We've added the UB2B to Spotify, Good Pods, Pocket Casts, Apple Overcast, Castbox, Amazon Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise, of course, known as iHeartRadio, and I did do that on purpose, by the way.
I know.
But yeah,
you set me up for once.
yeah, that's a rarity. And don't forget to check out the Facebook page, of course, with links to every episode. And of course, now on YouTube, every episode is available. So we don't want to upset YouTube. We've had issues with them in the past.
Yep. They
So,
did not like our
I don't-
minimalist use of music.
Yeah. And I don't know if me talking about Adrian Brody's penis. Whoops!
Oh,
Shit!
there
Shit!
you go.
Hey, they're going to take us as we are, or they're not going to take us at all.
And that's what happens.
But yeah, we just have fun with this stuff, kids. You know we do. So now you can watch us, listen to us on YouTube. It's just going to be...
You listen to us on YouTube.
Yeah, you're going to see the Sports Frenzy logo, and then you will get our...
Because you don't need to see us talking.
No, we will never, ever break that rule. Well, you need to do video podcast. No, we don't.
No, we don't. No. We did that on cable access.
Yeah, we had our day.
And on YouTube back in the day.
We had our day doing that. That we are on to better things for us. This is good. This is good. I always wanted to be a DJ when I was younger. This is kind of me living out my dream. You don't need to see this face on YouTube. Dave's might work. Mine, probably not.
Face for radio.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go, kids. We've told you what we're going to be doing next week. Now it is time to move on to movie reviews.
Yes, we each have one for you, kids.
Yep. You want to start or you want me to start?
Oh, I'll start off with this one. So on Peacock, we had Love Hurts, the action film with Ke Kwan, better known as Short Round.
No Time for Love, Dr.
Or
Jones.
Data from the Goonies.
Which I still have never seen.
You're killing me.
Yep. He just gave me the death stare, kids.
So many good lines.
You know what? It's sometimes fun every once in a while to drop one of those on him where there's that group of 8 or 10 classic movies I've never seen, and when I do that to him, he just wants to
pummel the shit out of you.
Yes.
Pretty much.
The vein starts pulsing in the side of his temple.
You give Mrs. C shit for not seeing Fast Times at Ridgemont.
Oh, there's a big difference. Big difference.
Goonies is a fucking classic.
Oh, come on.
Anyway. So Kwan plays a real estate agent who's up for an award. He wants a home for you, is his tagline, as he's found peace, having been a former enforcer for his criminal enterprising brother, played by Daniel Wu. And Kwan's character was supposed to have killed off Rose, played by Ariana DeBose. Kwan's character had fallen in love with her, took her out to the desert and told her, "Go away. You're dead, don't come back," giving her a new lease on life. And then he walks away from his brother, finds himself. She comes back wanting revenge on everything. Comes in, draws Kwan back into the old life, trying to get the killer back to save her and finally confront his brother. Marshawn Lynch's character is a riot.
Yeah, he's in that, isn't he?
Was it one of the Property Brothers is in it?
Jesus.
Playing a black belt. Does not end well for him, let's just say. But the final confrontation is pretty good. It's heartfelt. It's entertaining. It's not spectacular. It's not as good as Novocaine or Nobody. But it's a decent little tale. So I'll give it... It's a borderline strong 2.5 week 3. So I would kind of lean
good.
week 3. So
Okay.
it was worthwhile. Special effects are really good. The fight scenes are choreographed very well. And of course, it's all over the top stuff. So
And that's on Peacock right now.
it's currently
I believe.
on Peacock.
Yep.
So
we're gonna be.
I'll recommend watching it. It's worth. It's just over an hour and a half, so it's not long and drawn out.
And I'm starting to like those types of movies because that's going to apply to my
You want
my
the
review
hour,
as well.
hour and a half, hour 45 is.
And when we were talking about Black Bag last week, that was another reason that I love Black Bag. Just over an hour and a half, even though it's a very dense,
Cerebral.
dense cerebral spy thriller. Hour and a half, hour and 35 in, out, gets
Boom.
what it needs to get done. Learn a lesson from these movies.
I mean, all the great movies we used to love
Of course,
were in
all
that.
these movies
We're in
didn't
that
do well.
hour and a half realm
Right.
that we
Right.
grew up watching.
Yeah.
And it was the rarity that went to that kept your attention.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because my review is also a movie that's just over an hour and a half. Again, does what it's supposed to do, gets in, gets out, does it effectively. I did not have high expectations for this movie. But again, as I was debating, here in another week, am I getting rid of Max for a while, save myself the $10 a month, figured I'd try to knock out as many movies out there on Max as I could. So I watched Companion. Companion stars, of course, our guy from The Boys, Jack Quaid. Also stars our buddy from What We Do in the Shadows, Harvey Guillen. Guillermo. And then,
Guillermo.
but the focal point of Companion is, of course, Sophie Thatcher. Now, Sophie Thatcher, we reviewed Heretic recently. She was one of the two girls that came to, unfortunately, visit Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
She is phenomenal in this. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how much of this I can give away. Now, the premise is given away fairly quickly. Let's just put it this way. I have joked on occasion on this podcast about how I can't wait
To
for
go
them
to Vegas. Oh.
No, that's one of them. That's one of my fantasies. The other one, of course, is when are they going to come up with a real affordable sex bot? Hence,
The Companion.
the premise behind Companion.
Probably not as dark as Cherry 2000 from the 80s.
Do you remember? But here's the thing: there've been a lot of movies like this over the last handful of years. I know there's one out right now with Megan Fox. I think it's called Subservience.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be fairly interesting. But the one that kicked it all off, which I didn't think was a great movie, was called Ex Machina.
Right. Well, Cherry 2000 was before that one even.
Right. Now, Companion does a very good job of setting up. So, Sophie Thatcher is the companion. She is the
sex bot.
Right. But she doesn't know that's what she is.
Ah.
And all the controls are done on the quote unquote owner's phone. So the box shows up at the door like a coffin almost. And they open it up and there's your companion.
Download the app and
Yep, you download the app and then you can control
you sync it to
the intelligence. You can control on a slider the intelligence, the aggression. And so of course that all leads to an absolute mess. Now, the great thing about Companion is This is not just like, remember Megan? We watched that recently.
Oh God.
And it was just the killer doll went crazy, and this has actually got another plot behind it to explain what's going on, and people aren't what they seem. People might not be people.
People might be bots.
Yeah. I thought this was really well done. And again, I will take it for what it is, just like with Black Bag last week. You know, again, that was your spy espionage thriller. Got in, did what it needed to do, got out. This is the same thing. This is a horror / mystery. Gets in, sets things up quickly. Hour and a half.
Boom. Done.
Out. Done. Effective. Very good.
No
Strong,
long drawn out.
No wasted. Nothing wasted at all.
No crap like the end of The Substance.
Right. No. This actually does a great job from beginning to end. Very well written, very well directed and acted. Strong 3 Frenzies for companion.
All right.
Liked it very much.
I may have to check that one out.
I recommend it. Now, I know every once in a while you guys don't agree with me on some of these movies, like The Kid Detective was most recent, but I'm telling you, this was good. This was really good. And again, I went in with low expectations, so definitely recommend Companion for you this week, kids.
There you go. 2 solid reviews.
All right, moments of silence.
Of which we got a few of them for you.
Yep, and one of them we're carrying over from the sports edition, and I'll let Dave handle that because this is a rare instance where somebody deserves a tribute and a mention on both episodes.
Yes, the great comic actor George Wendt, who was Norm from the great NBC comedy Cheers, passed away. His roles in various movies, from House, the horror comedy, oh God, too many things to list, but he had a stint on SNL where, yes, my friends, we have to talk about the Coach Ditka and the great Chicago Bears, the great Bob Swirsky superfan.
Yep, absolutely.
But, no, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. Just a great talent, and by all accounts, a genuine nice guy who was cordial with all fans in any situation.
And of course, after he died, the next day or so, when the media outlets were announcing it, they played that one classic line from Cheers that just resonates, where he walked into the bar.
How you doing today, Mr. Peterson?
Well, no. Yeah. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. One of the greatest lines in television of all time.
Yep. Absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
So, yeah, so good at what he did.
And I know Dave's got another one, but I'm going to jump ahead to a couple, and then I'll leave the big one for him outside of George Wendt. In wrestling, I missed this one last week. Sabu, a legendary wrestler from multiple wrestling organizations, passed away a couple weeks ago. And then Happy Gilmore's arch nemesis, Morris, the alligator, reported to be over 80 years old, passed away here recently.
Yep. In numerous films.
And then Adam Sandler put together a ridiculously clever and funny obituary, or a message to his lost friend Morris the Gator.
That's brilliant.
Stuff like, oh, I remember the way you looked at me when I would give you a Milk-Bone biscuit or stuff like that. Just really funny, wild stuff. And that leaves us, though, with
one that happened before we taped, but we didn't hear about it until after last week. Joe Don Baker, star of the Walking Tall series of movies.
Buford T. Pusser.
One of the original badasses.
Yep.
And always had bit roles in different things. So good in everything he did. Starred in different characters, in 2 different characters in 3 James Bond films.
Yep. And as I told you, somebody paying tribute to him online said, how cool was this guy that he was the only actor who ever got to call James Bond Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Fletch.
Oh,
always
God.
Remember him in Fletch.
So, yes, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. God, now I got to go back and watch some Joe Don Baker movies.
Yep, he was a great, dare I say, underrated actor.
Yeah, very
underappreciated.
Underappreciated more than underrated.
Yeah.
Because his fans know how good he was. He just did not get the recognition and acclaim that he deserved.
Absolutely. All right, Dave, so what does that mean we have to do now?
It's time to pivot. We need to find out who is going to be the winner of the Golden Boot as the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
All right, we got six nominees this week. Now, I had to, kids. You're going to have to bear with me. I usually like to spring these on your Uncle Dave, so he's a little surprised. Has to think off the cuff. But in this case, there were a couple where I had to.
I needed context.
He had to listen or he had to look at something in order to understand.
And appreciate the stupidity.
So let's get those out of the way first, since you know these are coming. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a massive, massive fan of the rock band Triumph. I think Allied Forces is one of the greatest albums of all time. And one of the greatest, if not the greatest song of all time off that album is Fight the Good Fight. Absolutely can never get enough of that song. I think it does so many things so well. And fuck Rolling Stone for always disparaging Triumph. I remember when I would look in Rolling Stone and a new Triumph album was out.
They poo-poo.
1 star. 1 star.
Yeah, well...
This is the kind of stuff that sets rock and roll back 20 years.
Idiots and morons.
They said the same thing about all of Journey's albums, and then they magically, when Journey gets in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, revamp their ratings somehow.
Yeah, gee, funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Idiots at Rolling Stone, that's why nobody really gives a shit about them.
But unfortunately, now Dave and I have discussed over the last month or so this Triumph tribute album coming out called Magic Power. And we listened to Dee Snider doing Lay It on the Line. And
absolutely killed it.
And we listened to Sebastian Bach doing Rock and Roll Machine.
Very good.
Now we get Fight the Good Fight. Done by the lesser of the two Wilson sisters from Heart, Nancy Wilson. Now, bear with me here. I'm going to go off on a hateful rant for a couple seconds here. Ann Wilson is the one with the pipes. Ann Wilson is the one who can sing in Heart. Nancy Wilson got lucky.
Background vocals.
Got lucky once. With it, I don't know how it got it to number 1. I don't know how it became a big hit. But the shitty, terrible song, These Dreams.
Ugh.
And then all of a sudden everybody said, oh, maybe Nancy can sing.
No, she's background vocals and guitar.
And she's great guitarist. She plays the riff on Barracuda Heart's greatest song, but she should never, ever have attempted to do anything with Fight the Good Fight.
Oh my God, this was so god awful.
This is literally one of the worst, if not the worst, remakes, redos, covers I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, it's so bad.
And because
you took a great rock song and turned it into wussy pop.
Yeah, it's adult contemporary pablum is what it is.
Yeah, it's just awful.
And that's why it doesn't deserve a review. It deserves a nomination. Nancy Wilson, you are nominated for the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week for taking one of my favorite songs of all time, and I will never listen to this version ever again.
You bastardized this poor song.
Okay, we all heard the bad news. Some accounts say 10, some say 11 prisoners escaped. Dangerous, deadly prisoners escaped from the Orleans Parish Jail here recently. Now I think about half of them have been caught.
Yep.
But the press conference where the police department was going to address the issue turned into an absolute debacle and a commentary on how stupid our society has become in terms of who we're hiring,
lack of professionalism.
Yes, what we let slide when it comes to these people in positions of power. Captain Stephanie Minto Gibson shows up at this press conference with the most embarrassing set of glasses I've ever seen in my life, looking like she had just banged the Riddler and grabbed his glasses by mistake on the way out to the press conference.
So god-awful, pathetic comic book glasses. Big green frames, goofy shape to them.
Yes, that's the thing. Not just the green, it's the combination of everything.
The lime green and the funky shape.
They look like Riddler glasses.
Yeah. The Riddler. Jim Carrey's Riddler from the god-awful Batman.
Joel Schumacher's
crap
Batman movie that destroyed the franchise for a while before Christopher Nolan
resurrected it.
Yeah. All right, this happens a lot more than I realized. I had to do research on this. It's disgusting and disturbing, but I guess this kind of happens across the country a few times every year.
People pay extra for it.
Yeah, I'm going to New Orleans or Vegas for it. One of the two. No, I don't want the glasses. God. Yeah. Please put on these glasses before you do the dirty deed.
No.
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 No, but recently, a woman is suing a California funeral home as she was preparing to put her uncle to rest. She looked at the casket, right casket.
Wrong body.
Right clothes. That was her uncle's clothes. On the wrong body. And she had to fight with the funeral home for 2 hours to convince them, showing them a picture of her uncle from her phone, saying, my uncle's not that dark. My uncle's not that. That's what she said. My uncle's not that dark.
Wow.
And again, this happens all the time from what I could tell.
Wow. Yeesh. You had one job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Again, what are we doing? You said it perfectly. If you take the position, you take the job, you take the responsibility, do the job right. That's all you got to do. That's why you're getting paid. Nope. Show up with Riddler glasses to a serious prison escapee
and
press
put
conference.
The wrong body in the casket.
In the wrong clothes. Or in the right clothes. All right. Time for me to go off on Bruce Springsteen again. This fucking asshole. I am so tired of him.
Just shut up and sing.
And I don't care what he thinks about Donald Trump. Go ahead, hate him. You're entitled. But this bullshit I'm sick of with him. Because a couple years ago we had to deal with him and his greed when he started buying in to Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing.
Yes, the greedy
and then
fuck.
said, well, I'll give you a refund if the show's not worth $3,000.
It's not worth $3,000.
My ass.
Dumbass.
He is a greedy fucktard who people should not follow and should not listen to.
He's got you all buffaloed, kids.
So, of course, you heard recently he made comments about the president. And again, fine. I don't like it when somebody's paid to go see you in concert.
When you're taking time away from playing music for me and spouting your beliefs, I didn't pay to hear you do political commentary. I paid to hear you sing.
And then I love how he's so cowardly. He does this over in the UK.
Yeah, not even here.
Yeah. But of course, everybody goes, "Oh, Bruce, listen to Bruce standing up to that mean bully president, Donald Trump." Okay, fine. So what do? They cut 4 songs from that concert, including his comments about President Trump, and they push out immediately, it's out now, a 4-song EP called Land of Hope and Dreams. Again, featuring his remarks about Donald Trump.
Gee, that's not a money grab.
Yeah, $5 for 4 songs. You can get it now on Amazon. And there is no mention anywhere of the money going to any charity. It's going in Bruce's pocket.
Yeah, because he's a greedy fuck.
I hate that son of a bitch. I hate him. And again, I can separate. I can still like his music and think he's an absolute piece of garbage as a human being. And I do. I think he's an absolute scumbag who's manipulating all these people. These sycophants.
And this $5 4-song crap is a complete money grab.
That's all it is.
Like he needs any more.
Did you? I know. I like the president more than you do. But did you see the video Trump put out in response to this?
No.
I know we get a little tired of him on social media, but now that he's discovered memes and videos.
Oh no. Oh no.
He put out a video. Yes, this is our president. He put out a video of him on the golf course, and he tees off, and then they insert Bruce Springsteen, and the golf ball hits him right. I'm just like, God, I love this.
I will give that. I will give him credit for that one.
I love this so much. I just love it. And Neil Young now is coming out saying, "I'm not afraid of you, Donald Trump." Shut up.
Nobody likes you anyway.
And of course, one of his songs plays towards the end of Dark Winds Season 3. And I'm just like, oh,
yeah, I know.
Christ. Oh, Christ. I got to listen to him. Now, the episode before had some great music.
Oh, it was killer stuff.
They had, Page and Plant?
Yeah.
Doing Gallows Pole?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good stuff. And then, the last episode's got to have Neil Young.
Music of the times.
His little warble.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you and I don't like to fly. Right? You and I agree on this. We don't like flying for multiple reasons.
Multiple reasons.
But I think I have a new reason that will prove once again why we're right and everybody else is wrong. And it will also prove once again why people are selfish asshats. There is a woman, of course, TikTok. She's an influencer. Her name is Chloe Gray. She has amassed, I believe, about 500,000 views now on TikTok, showing how she takes a rotisserie chicken onto the airplane as her carry-on bag and eats rotisserie chicken in her seat during the flight.
People actually watch this bullshit?
Yeah, because you know that, like, you go to Kroger and you can get the
Yeah.
roto chicken in a bag.
Yeah.
She stops by. She said she got hers at Whole Foods, though, of course.
Of course.
And she was allowed to bring that on as her carry-on.
I thought food was not allowed.
No, she was bragging about how and then she told the guy who stopped her.
Oh, I do this all the time.
No, get this. She said, "This is how I have a first-class experience without actually paying for first class. It's a rotisserie chicken. It's not caviar, babe. Okay?
Idiot."
And then she has pictures of herself eating the rotisserie chicken in her seat.
I hate influencers.
And the caption is, this will really piss you off, is she's eating her rotisserie chicken in her seat. And of course everybody is like commenting saying, how selfish, you're disgusting. No way in hell I would have that next to me. She puts little caption on the bottom of her pictures, exercising my free will.
Bitch.
Yeah, my free will is to punch you in the face. If you sit down next to me and start eating a chicken.
My free will is to lean over and take a bite out of it.
Sorry. That's a perfect, there couldn't be a more perfect example of the self-centered nature of people now with the phones and with social media.
Death to influence. Well, no, wait, sorry. Influencers should be done away with. Can't say death because of the tragedies in Mexico with the influencers being shot while filming down there by the cartels.
Ugh. Yeah, cartels, that's a different story altogether.
But
and of course, our government wants to keep
done.
Our government wants to keep cartel members in the country because they have rights too. You Democrats need to really look at yourselves in the mirror. Then finally, you have to read between the lines on this one. Okay? So we talked about on our sports edition last week the announcement of the ESPN app, right? And we talked about how that's coming out at a price point of $30 a month just for the ESPN channels.
Yeah. No.
Well, we know that NBC Universal, owned by Comcast, signed up for the NBA at an astronomical price, right?
Idiots.
Comcast Chief Financial Officer Jason Armstrong, I believe this was at the upfronts where all this crap is announced, when asked about that $30 a month ESPN app, he said that price would be, quote, helpful for them going forward in how they will price Peacock. Read between the lines.
Yep, they're pricing you out, people.
They're going to use that NBA contract.
Cancel.
They're going to use that NBA contract and the ESPN price as an excuse
to jack your price.
Peacock will be double in 6 months, guaranteed. Peacock will be $20 a month by the time the NBA season begins in the fall, guaranteed. I'll tell you what, if they lose the WWE, I'm out. I'll have to give up on Patrol Live. That's the one other thing I'll watch on there. But I'll have to give it up. I'll have to give it up because I'm not paying $20 a month for it. Just because they decided they had to have the NBA.
Do not take it out on people who don't want to watch the shit.
Now, I think we predicted...
I didn't ask you to go after it.
I think we predicted this maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
That the streaming was blowing up.
I still think you're looking at least 2 of the major streaming services will go away in the next year. Yeah. They will not be able to sustain the models as they are currently constructed.
Yep, it's getting close to the point where they're going to price themselves out. Maybe keep one, but not multiples.
Yeah.
And if I would have to pick up multiple streaming places to watch sports, guess what? I'm not watching sports via streaming.
And people always make fun of people like you and me because why do you still buy DVDs and Blu-rays? Because it's going to come to the point where I'm not going to be able to afford fucking TV. So I have to watch all these old movies and old TV shows that I'm surrounded by over and over again because I'm like Dave. I'm not paying $30 a month for ESPN and $20 a month for Netflix and $20 a month for Peacock.
Yeah. Where does it stop?
And then, of course,
done.
Then, of course, I heard, for me, it's bad news because I have YouTube TV. They've already jacked their prices way up over the last couple years.
Oh, yeah.
They're about to have to negotiate a new deal with ESPN.
Oh, God.
How's that going to go? ESPN doesn't want anybody to have ESPN.
No, they
want
to
launch their
own app and streaming
service. They want you to buy the app because all that money goes directly to them. So they're going to try to price
everybody out.
They're going to price Comcast out. They're going to price DirecTV out. They're going to price YouTube TV out.
Every major outlet.
Yeah, they're going to price them all out.
Every cable outlet, they're going to price out.
Mark my words, kids. At least 2 streaming services will bite the dust in the next year. I'm telling you. All right, it's time to vote, David. Bruce Springsteen.
Too easy.
Chloe Gray and her carry-on chicken.
Bing, bing, bing.
The California funeral home that put the wrong body in the casket in the right clothes. The Riddler glasses on Captain Stephanie Minto Gibson as she's announcing the escape of 10 deadly prisoners down in Nolans. Nancy Wilson butchering Fight the Good Fight. And Comcast CFO Jason Armstrong implying we're going to use the ESPN app price point model to jack up Peacock and screw everybody.
Too many worthy, but I fucking hate influencers.
So you're going with the roto
I'm
chicken?
going with the egotistical rotisserie chicken bitch from hell.
I like your way of thinking. I do. And like you said, Springsteen's probably too easy. It's just another log on the fire in terms of me hating him. I'm going to go with Nancy Wilson, though.
You have to. That's my number 2. That is a disaster.
That would be like somebody redoing a Van Halen song and destroying it. Forever, you're forever tainted.
Forever unclean.
Yes, in my eyes. You can't take one of the greatest songs of all time and destroy it like that. You just can't. You should come out immediately after that's released and apologize. And say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was such crap.
It was bad.
I'm sorry to all Triumph fans, and specifically the Maestro. Ugh. Terrible, awful, terrible.
It's terrible.
All right, so finally, you're going, what? It's not over yet? No!
We're bringing back a blast from the past, from the old cable access days.
Yeah, if you did not listen to the sports edition this week, now, of course, you would have known YouTube is now hosting, is a platform for Sports Frenzy, both editions, the sports edition and the weekend edition. And then you would have also heard that we're bringing back something called Last Call.
It's a chance for a final rant for something that not quite dumbass worthy, but didn't fit in anywhere else. A personal pet peeve.
So going forward, on occasion, not going to guarantee it's going to happen every week. And of course, this week is just me because Dave didn't find out till the last minute. Because he's got enough on his plate. He doesn't need me emailing him, texting him about this podcast every 5 minutes. So,
unless you start giving us money and make it career worthy, then.
And who knows, hopefully with the YouTube, maybe that happens. Although I saw the standards to become what they call a YouTube partner, which means you start earning money. We need a lot of people to start listening. A lot of people. So I will have a last call for you this week. And Dave summed it up perfectly. In that it's just a way for us to get that one last rant out that doesn't quite fit anywhere else. And this was actually the one that inspired me. It wasn't the sports edition. I had one this last week on the sports edition, but this was the one for the weekend edition where I was like, I've got to bring this up, but I don't know how and I don't know where. And then it finally dawned on me, you dumb fuck, bring back last call.
So here we go.
All right, my last call this week ties into something that happened last year. And now, even though they have another chance to redeem themselves, they will not. Of course, last year we had, I believe it was Hurricane Irene that tore through Florida, Georgia, and of course, especially the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Massive flooding, which they are still recovering from. Soon thereafter, we had wildfires in California,
which got all the attention.
Hollywood and the rock and roll community did everything they possibly could. Benefit concerts,
for the
telethons,
wildfires.
Everything to help the people out in California, and did absolutely nothing to help the victims of the hurricane out. Now, my last call simply asks, will Hollywood step up? Will they continue to be Democratic, liberal fucktards? And will they ignore what has happened in Kentucky and Missouri with 30 people dead from devastating, deadly tornadoes? Or are they going to continue to just sit on the West Coast acting like they're their little own sovereign nation and they are not part of the United States?
It doesn't impact them at all, so what do they care about anybody else?
And you people want to know why I get mad about Bruce Springsteen and why I get mad about Billy Joe Armstrong and why I get mad about Neil Young? They're not part of our society. They are not part of the United States. They don't want to be.
Elitist entitled assets.
They will do nothing. They will step up zero. No effort. No money. They will do nothing to help out the poor people in Kentucky and Missouri who have been destroyed. Their lives, their property have been devastated by these tornadoes. They will do nothing. But the next time California has an issue, we'll be expected, all of us will be expected to drop everything, pray for California, give money to California, do everything we possibly can to help California. And you know what I say? Fuck California.
We were promised.
Fuck these celebrities. And I say this seems like every week. You got to realize these celebrities, these actors, these musicians, look at their educational background. Most of them are dumber than us. Barely getting out of high school. They're not geopolitical scientists. They're not economic majors. They don't have PhDs unless they were given an honorary one from a college that just wanted them to come and do a commencement speech.
Yeah.
An honorary degree is basically worth the same as a roll of Charmin. Bruce Springsteen is an idiot. I guarantee you, he's an idiot. But you follow him and you kiss his ass and you get what you deserve. I implore you people out there, step up for Kentucky and Missouri. Help these people out. And the next time California comes calling and the celebrities want to do a concert, a benefit concert, you tell them, stick it up your ass. I'll take care of the heartland. I'll take care of flyover country because you never do. That's my last call this week.
There you go.
So now you kind of get an idea of what last call is all about. And I'm sure your Uncle Dave will chime in the future.
Yep.
With his own.
We'll have a few down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, last call is really more personal.
Yes.
Your personal pet peeve, your personal gripes.
What really pissed you off over the last week?
Yep. And you've got time to put it together, let it flow in a very
after
concise,
it festers and
yet
stews
passionate manner.
And builds.
Yes. Yep. It's going to erupt. It's going to erupt.
That's what she said.
Wear a condom. All right, that's going to do it for the weekend edition. We hope you enjoyed it. Of course, now on YouTube, we'll see how long it lasts with all the cursing and the borderline NC-17 content.
And the anti-liberal rantings and ravings.
I told them when I uploaded it, I said, this is not made for children. And of course, Spotify, our host platform, knows that this is explicit content. So there's no excuse.
Nope,
none. And we're not playing music, so you can't nail us like last time on this copyright bullshit.
Bingo.
They're harmful to our community. That's what we're going to get. You're harmful to our community.
Yes. Yes, we can be. To your fucktard way of life.
I'm going to get a t-shirt made up saying that.
I'm harmful to your community.
Yeah, I'm harmful to YouTube's community. But for now, it's probably the easiest way to access us. Get on YouTube and listen to us.
Bingo.
So, we love you. Glad you stick with us week in and week out here. That's your Uncle Dave the Conquistador, Dave Height.
That's your Uncle Kev, the Maestro Kevin Crane.
And until next week when we do it all over again, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.